withdrawal from Afghanistan as the Taliban solidifies its grip on that country, and Americans and allies rush to try to safely evacuate. This afternoon, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said that the Taliban has agreed to give civilians safe passage to the Kabul airport, where the U.S. military is hoping to speed up the pace of evacuation flights within the next 24 hours. This striking image, obtained by Defense One, shows nearly 650 Afghans packed inside a U.S. military cargo plane. They were safely evacuated on Sunday to Qatar. The White House estimates that at least 11,000 Americans remain in Afghanistan. But those figures do not include the tens of thousands of Afghan allies who helped the U.S. during the war, and their families, who could be killed by the Taliban if they are not promptly flown out of the country.
Motherfucker said, don't they have COVID there? Listen, brother, I think that's one area where, like, I don't think they give a fuck about COVID right now. I feel like there's some different issues. It's not like they're going to Lollapalooza and that's why they're bunching up. You know what I mean? Imagine seeing like the fucking insane imagery coming out of the Kabul airport and being like, why aren't they social distancing, sweaty? Like,
country. Let's begin our coverage today with CNN's Clarissa Ward, who's live in the...
Funny how no one talks about Afghanistan's former socialist-oriented PDP party when talking about the original destabilization of the country. Yeah, they were... I mean, I have talked about it. Yeah, they were fucking not good. But this current iteration of Afghanistan is exclusively the fault of America and Pakistan, America's ally.
The Afghan capital of Kabul. And Clarissa, you're getting a sense of just how quickly life is changing for ordinary Afghan citizens who are once again...
I thought she needed a hijab. Bro, she's like up on a fucking rooftop by herself. I don't think she needs to wear one when she's like not interviewing the Taliban.
Rule of the Taliban.
That's right, Jake. I mean, there's the sense, I guess, that this is the new normalcy, and there are signs of normalcy creeping back onto the streets. The Taliban announced that government workers should be returning to their posts. Today, we saw traffic policemen on the roads guiding traffic. As I've mentioned before, the Taliban really wants to show that it can effectively govern, that it is not just a fighting force. But walking around the streets, Jake, it was impossible to ignore that women were not as visible. And we went out looking for those women to hear their stories. Take a listen.
Wait, Chad, we're trying to make a case for bringing in Afghan nationals using liberals' COVID madness. Not me. Bring as many as possible. Wait, are you insane? Who cares? You can fucking vaccinate and also, like, what? You can literally fucking quarantine every asylum seeker. Like, literally all of them. That's literally what Fox is saying. Yeah, fucking quarantine them. Do PCR tests, quarantine, and then vaccinate. And then quarantine more. Like, that makes no sense. It's like the easiest fucking solution, dude.
But walking around the streets, Jake, it was impossible to ignore that women were not as visible, and we went out looking for those women to hear their stories. Take a listen.
Dude, Fox News caring about like refugees being vaccinated in COVID is like when they act like they care about the women of Afghanistan. It's literally the definition of virtue signaling, like fake virtue signaling on a thing that you don't personally believe in at all. Like, you can't on the one hand be like, I don't believe that COVID is real. I don't believe that it's a fucking serious problem. And then simultaneously be like, but, you know, it's a serious problem if the immigrants are bringing it in. Oh, shit. This is pretty fucking funny. Someone says, where can I donate money to the Taliban? Trevor Phillips says, pay taxes in the United States. True. It's pretty obvious you don't care. It's like when conservatives say, conservatives in the EU do this a lot. You know what I mean? Because they're like a little bit more liberal. Like, they're not as socially conservative or as outwardly socially conservative as American conservatives are. So they'll say stuff like, "Oh, we're bringing in, Muslim immigrants into the country, and they have a lot of conservative values and conservative opinions that, do not work well with our liberal Western governments." And it's like, dog, you literally, like, you are a conservative. Like, you also want to fucking take rights away from women. Like, you can't just turn around. You can't turn around and fucking be like, man, these Muslims are, they're doing these terrible things that I want to do. But when I do it, it's acceptable. But when the brown Muslims want to do it, it's unacceptable. It's like, and even then, there are, especially in America, I can't speak for like the UK, or I can't speak for like other European countries. This one is UK equals EU. When I say EU, I mean Europe, not fucking European Union, okay? But my point is, like, you can't fucking talk about like Muslims being conservative when you yourself are fucking conservative, okay? And you want to do conservatism here. At least Tucker Carlson's like kind of honest about how much he loves the Taliban. You know what I mean? This wasn't your best take. It absolutely is, because conservatives hate other countries' conservatives for their conservatism. Like, xenophobic conservatives literally talk about how backwards other countries' conservatives are, when there's like fucking progressive people in those countries too. It's at the heart of like xenophobic conservatism. It's so stupid. You can say horrible take all you want. Ben Shapiro being like, gays are being thrown off the roofs because of, ISIS is throwing gays off the roofs. It's like, well, Ben, you literally don't want gays to have rights. You just have, through a series of like, liberal whiplash, tried to normalize your fucking conservative opinion on homosexuality in the United States over the course of many years. You know what I mean? If you had the same fucking conditions, if you had like a similar, if you had the similar material conditions on the ground, like, you would 100% be like, yeah, no, gays should be maybe not thrown off the roofs, but like locked away for the degeneracy. So, spare me your fucking interest in the well-being and welfare of homosexuals when you literally are trying to, make a point against the welfare of queer people here in America. Yeah, it's not as bad as like throwing them off the fucking roofs. Anyway, let's keep going.
At the central Kabul market today, stores were open and people were back on the streets. Or at least some people. It was impossible not to notice that women here seemed to have largely melted away. One store was doing better business than usual. For more than a decade,
Let me guess, he's selling fucking burqas. Oh, here we go.
has been selling burqas, the head-to-toe covering once imposed by the Taliban. Business was good, but now it's even better, he tells us. More sales.
Why do you
Bro, this is like the MAGA guys. You know how like Trump supporters will always have like half of the Trump supporters make their money off like selling fucking Trump t-shirts? Same energy with this dude. He's like, I love the Taliban. It's very good. My burqa business is doing so well right now. Like, it's like a fucking meme, dude. It's like that one guy who was like, dude, my fucking dad, stop calling me, please. Oh my God. It's like that one fucking MAGA dude who was like, yeah, I'm in the debt collections business, so business is fucking booming. Okay, hold on, I gotta pick up.
you think you're selling more burqas right now?
Because the Taliban took over and all the women are afraid, he says. So that's why they're all coming in and buying burqas.
Do you feel abandoned?
Yeah, exactly.
In an apartment downtown, we saw that fear firsthand.
Bro, he can't even hear me. Like, I'm texting them and he can't even hear me. He's just like, It's just like such a dad move, dude. To like call just to be like, I can't hear you. Well, okay.
Until last week, Fazila was working for the UN. That's not her real name, and she asks we not show her face. She's petrified that the Taliban will link her to Western organizations and says she hasn't gone outside since they arrived in Kabul.
You look very frightened.
Exactly. Too much stress. It is not easy for a person to
Bro,
work.
they're not hiding their face. They're not hiding their identity. What the fuck? This is terrible, dude. Like, you can't do that. They're not even fucking changing their voice. Like, the fuck? Might as well just not even wear the veil at that point. Just fucking straight blast them in the face. They said it wasn't her name. Yeah, but they can literally, one, recognize her voice, and they already gave background information on where she used to work. Are you guys serious?
Worked a lot with international organization, having more than 10 years experience of working with international, and now no one of them helped me. Just sending emails to different organizations that I work with you, but now no response.
Are you angry?
No, I'm not angry, but as a person that who work with them, now I need their supports. It is not fair.
You look
Showing
very
her house?
emotional as well.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about my future, my daughters. What will happen to them if they kill me, 2 daughters without mother?
The Taliban says they have learned from history and that women's rights will be protected. But many fearful Afghan women remain to be persuaded.
We're on our way now to the home of a prominent female Afghan politician. She's told me that there are Taliban fighters outside her front door, so she's asked that I go in alone.
Fauzia Kufi was one of the Afghan government negotiators during peace talks with the Taliban and has dealt with the group a lot. She says that promising change is not enough.
They have to really prove it in the provinces across Afghanistan. They have to show it by example. It's very easy to issue statements, but people need to see that in practice.
Kufi has every reason not to trust. Last year, she was shot by unknown gunmen. The Taliban denied they were behind the attack.
You have children,
I have 2 daughters.
and are they here?
They are in Kabul.
And are you concerned for them? Or?
Wow, look at her. Yet another performative activist like Malala. Sorry, I had to say that. I keep going back to what that one fucking Twitter person was saying. Why is Chad assuming it's the Taliban? I mean, it could be. If it's the Taliban though, they would probably mention it. And also, like, they would probably take ownership over it. And also, if it was the Taliban, I don't know if they would fucking kill like one of the negotiators or try to kill one of the negotiators.
I'm concerned for my daughters and all the girls of Afghanistan.
Many terror attacks happened around 2016 election that likely helped Trump get elected. These were caused by refugee nationals from countries like Libya, Syria, Afghanistan. It's not safe to take them in, yet that's what they're going to do. This is literally false. 75% of domestic terrorism is directly attributed to far-right, anti-government, white supremacist terror in this country since 9/11. So you are absolutely delusional if you think that that's not, like, that's just a straight up fucking lie. And I like that he has like a liberal spin to it where he's like, ugh, that's the reason why Trump got elected. It's like, my personal racist beliefs about something that did not even fucking happen is the reason why Trump got elected, and now liberals are going to get another Trump elected. It's like, what the fuck?
I don't want history to repeat itself on them very brutally.
Jake, we heard for the first time in person from the Taliban spokesperson, Zabiullah Mujahid. He gave a press conference tonight, and it was really interesting to see the types of questions that were asked by Afghan journalists particularly. It really goes to show you how much has changed here in 2 generations, or 2 decades, I should say. These journalists were not pulling any punches. They pushed him on women's rights. They pushed him on whether women would be able to continue working as journalists, continue working on television. And he was sort of struggling to answer and give a direct and coherent response. But the one question that really just stuck with me, it was so extraordinary. He was talking about this blanket amnesty that the Taliban has granted to everyone. And this journalist stood up and says, "But will the Afghan people forgive you for all the people, the innocent civilians who've been killed in your car bombs?" To which Mujahid replied, "Well, that's collateral damage. It happens." But the courage of that journalist to ask that question, to look him squarely in the eye and ask that, I think it speaks to the real changes that have happened here in the last 20 years, Jake. And whether the Taliban has changed or not, the people here certainly have.
Right, the existence of social media, a whole generation of girls, women, and boys and men educated in the last 20 years. Clarissa, what was the mood like when you were walking around Kabul earlier today?
It's a very strange mood because it looks normal. It feels secure. There isn't that same, as a journalist even, there's not the same fear that at any moment you could be kidnapped or shot or blown up. And that's partially because the people who might have done that to you before are now the people who are in charge of the place. But the market was open. It was bustling. I would say about a third of the stores, if not half of the stores, were open. And traffic was moving. This is this moment. The Taliban knows they have to get it right. They know that they have to get things moving along again, that if there's any vacuum or any kind of violent crackdown of any sort or chaos, that they will lose the momentum that they have on their side. They're keen to show now that they're benevolent, as well as being able to provide law and order. But you heard it from those women, and particularly from Fawzia Kufa, an extraordinarily brave politician. The proof will be in the pudding. And it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Right, and we've seen the Taliban, as they took over the country, grabbing young girls, forcing them into these, I don't want to call them marriages, but forcing them into these hideous relationships with their fighters. You just mentioned that the
Wait, what? That makes it sound worse, Jake. What the fuck? You made it seem like there's consent there. These hideous relationships. Just say forced marriage. Like, everybody knows that that's bad, dog. It's literally, he was like trying to make it sound worse, and then he made it sound like he was defending what this was. Like, you know, putting them into problematic relationships, where the Taliban are gaslighting these little girls. They're gatekeeping. It's toxic. These are toxic relationships. You just said toxic relationships. What the fuck?
Taliban claimed today that they've pledged amnesty to former Afghan forces. They also said there would be, quote, no violence against women. I mean, can anybody trust anything that they have to say?
I think that for the most part, people have a really hard time trusting. And I asked Fawzia Kufa, I said,
You're a fraud, showing CNN like they report accurately on foreign countries. What? What can I show instead? Like fucking Live Leak? Are you down there? Do you know someone that's down there? The fuck?
come on, you've dealt with them, you've been with them, you've negotiated with them. Do you believe what they're saying? And she said, for now, it's hard for me to trust. She doesn't rule it out entirely. But here's the thing, Jake. It's not enough for the Taliban just to say women can be educated. It's about leading by example. And so if the Taliban wants to really show that they have changed in this respect from their fundamental ideology, then they need to actively campaign for women's education to make it clear to all the people in this country.
They literally are not going to do that. Okay, they're not. And they're going to say women can be. They're going to say what they've been saying, that women can be educated, except, you know, in what Allah wishes them to be educated. And then once they get to a certain age, and this is what they've said so far, like women get Quran education only, okay? And then also on top of that, they don't get to be there's no co-ed. There's no like education once they reach like maturity or puberty. No more co-ed education for girls and boys together. Women are no longer allowed to be in the presence of men. Like these are the types of things that they're gonna be fucking, you know, pushing for and are open about.
Country that there is a new direction, because the other woman, Fazila as we called her, she told me that her sister went out to buy some milk the other day and the grocer at the grocery store said to her, you know, you really should be wearing proper hijab, proper covering. He never would have said that 2 weeks ago, but now because the Taliban is in town, people adopt their posture, they change their behavior to please what they think is the sort of prevailing lord or a...
I mean, they're like, you know, they're literally just conservatives. They're fundamentalists, so they're like mega conservatives. Their version of the world is unironically what like a lot of these fucking weirdo, like Jordan Peterson wants women to not be in the workplace. You know what I mean? Like, actually, ironically, Jordan Peterson has a big fucking Muslim following. I don't know if you know that or not. But that's part of the reason why he's like, you know, we don't know what the consequences are of women working in the workforce side by side with men. We simply don't know. Like he'll just let that hang, you know what I mean? And you can make assertions on that if you will. Yeah, see? Look. I mean, I got Western fucking psychos in here. Most women don't want women in the workplace. Stop being so naive. See? It's just fucking boop, mask off, dude. Literally, like. What, you think the Taliban and Jordan Peterson don't have the exact same fucking take on makeup? Women wearing makeup in the workplace? Come on, dude. I'm not saying Jordan Peterson is like as reactionary as the Taliban. They just have a lot of ideas that are similar to one another.
Ruler at the time. And that's the real problem here. The Taliban can't just say these things in passing. They have to actively show by example that there have been fundamental changes in the way they're going to govern. And I would say from people I have spoken to, not many have a huge amount of faith that that is really going to happen.
Yeah. Clarissa Ward, live in Kabul, Afghanistan. Thank you for your brave reporting as always. Joining us now to discuss General David Petraeus, the former commander of...
Lost the plot there. Losing the plot here, little buddy. Okay, you fucking incel dweeb lord. I mean, thank you for making the argument that like everyone was going to consider to be a straw man. You basically fucking literally admitted the argument yourself. Like I didn't have to do anything. I mean, I said little buddy, dude. I'm your fucking father.
Of U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan from 2010 to 2011. General, I'd like to know what your reaction has been to what we've seen out of Kabul the last few days.
Well, I think it's hard not to observe that it's just heartbreaking. It's tragic. And whatever you may think of the previous Afghan government, its replacement by a group that has been fighting against us for 20 years, that has killed civilians left and right, that has done all of the things that you described in the rural areas that they have entered prior to getting to Kabul. It's very hard to see that as anything but disastrous. The previous government, again, for...
My favorite part about this is like, we literally have all of the people directly responsible for all of the death and destruction that fell upon the Afghan people. Like every time you watch a video of an Afghan civilian like clinging onto a fucking plane, like remember that most of these people are responsible, including those who banged the war drums like Jake Tapper. Like, imagine having David Petraeus on to be like, oh yeah, it's just like, you know, these Afghans, they're fucking cowards, bro. You know, oh, thanks, man. Thanks for, you know, giving us our, giving us the hot take on that. You know, I know that you were super considerate of that.
For all of its shortcomings and flaws, wholeheartedly supported our effort to ensure that al-Qaeda could not reestablish the kind of sanctuary that it enjoyed when it planned the 9/11 attacks on Afghan soil under the control of the Taliban.
Let me try to explain.
It is absolutely wild. Petraeus was literally general that recommended the surge of troops in 2013, 2014, and was appointed to the CIA because he was supposedly going to help in nation building. Yes. General Petraeus is responsible for the surge and also many of the fucking idiotic programs. Many of the idiotic programs that we saw fail disastrously in Afghanistan. So having him talk about how like the Afghans, well, you know, they didn't do a good job fucking defending, or you know, the Taliban, they have no consideration for fucking, they have no consideration for the civilians. It's like, that's insane.
To you the situation where we are. It's very hectic. You can probably hear those gunshots. We're about 200 yards, even less than 200 yards away from the entrance to the Kabul airport. We just drove through it quickly. It's absolutely impossible to stop there. And I say we drove through it quickly. You can't drive through it quickly. It's bumper to bumper. Cars are barely moving. There are Taliban fighters all around. We actually did see them physically with truncheons trying to get them back.
Damn, dude. Afghanistan has NA internet right here. Look at this.
We have seen them and heard them a lot as well, firing on the crowds to disperse the crowds. It's a little difficult to see from this vantage point, and it's a slightly edgy situation, so I don't want to push our luck. But all along the roadside over there, there's just hundreds of people who are basically waiting, desperately trying to get out of the country. It's not clear if they have their paperwork in order, if they've been declined and told that they can't enter the gates, or if they simply don't have the wherewithal to get inside. Cameraman Will Bonnet's just panning off right now. You can see it's a pretty large crowd who's formed around us already, because this is a slightly unusual situation to be doing live shots from here, I think. But it's definitely chaotic. It's definitely dangerous. I will say this. The Taliban appears to be trying to disperse the crowds, and there are crowds there of young men who seem to be just engaging in like criminal activity. I don't know if you heard that. They're kind of running towards the Taliban, and then
Bro, what the fuck? She didn't even flinch, dude.
Running away from.
That's insane. You can't really see from the footage, but like she literally, look.
Running towards the Taliban, and then
that's nuts.
Of young men who seem to be just engaging in like criminal activity. I don't know if you heard that. They're kind of running towards.
Okay, she maybe flinched a little bit. Never mind.
The Taliban, and
then holds frame immediately.
Running away from them again, almost like it's a game. But you know, when there's bullets firing like that, Brianna and John, it's clearly not a game.
We heard the gunfire there, Clarissa. Give us a sense if the Taliban is firing into the
Why is she smiling? What the fuck?
crowds at people, or is it
None of the homies give a fuck either, by the way. That's even crazier. They're just like
crowd dispersal into the air? Are they letting anyone through?
This is good for
From
her
what
career.
we can see, and for what we could see, we only had a very limited vantage point.
Dude, war journalists are fucking a different breed, okay? They're psychos. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, they're very brave, but also part of it is like they're psychopaths. Straight up.
point. They're firing to disperse the crowds. They're not targeting people. They're not trying to kill people. But of course, the minute you're firing willy-nilly when you have a bunch of civilians all over the road in civilian vehicles, people get hurt. That's what happens. So there's not a huge amount of discipline, let's say, to use an understatement, in the ways in which they are dispersing the crowd. We did see some people behind the concertina wire implying that they had been able to get into that first perimeter. But I'm not going to lie. I mean, you're running the gauntlet to try to get in there because...
Stay on topic. So many unnecessary comments from you today. Hassan, stop commentating on dumb shit, please. Here, I'll commentate on your fucking being a permanent ban. You being permanently banned.
There are so many different things going on. You could just hear the gunfire is pretty much constant as the Taliban tries to push people back. And as a result, you're just getting lots of people on the roads surrounding the airport, like the one we're on, less than 200 yards away. You're just getting lots and lots of people sitting by the roadside.
How do motherfuckers not recognize, like, this dude is literally like an Amazon fucking manager over here? Stay on topic. A lot of unnecessary comments today. I'm seeing a lot of time off task from you. Not good. I know that you went up and peed earlier. That was that's going to be reflected in your quarterly earnings report.
Have their bags, and they're just obviously have no idea how they can get out.
And I know, Clarissa, that your cameraman, Will, is there, it looks like, on a tripod. But I'm just wondering if he can pan around a little more so that we can see the scene there, not too far from the Kabul airport.
Well, could you just pan around a little bit more to get a bit more of the scene? I'll step out to the side. You can see we've got this crowd around us, which is never great because crowds are always a little bit dangerous. And most of these people, let me ask you, sir, are you waiting here to get out, or what are you doing here?
Can we talk about how effective right-wing messaging is? My Nazi coworkers already calling how the Taliban being based for being anti-everything. What? Dude, ship conservatives to Afghanistan. Like, actually, dude, you know how I had a Florida plan? I unironically think we should just, like, okay, go to Afghanistan then. Like, I don't understand. Why don't you just go live there, and then we can do like a fucking migration plan where anyone that wants to live in like a more liberal or more modernized environment with more progressive values, like, thank you, Quincy Bones, for 521 gift subs. Just substitute Islam for Christianity and they're on board. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of wild that some of them are actually seeing that, though. You know what I mean? At least they're honest in a weird way. In a weird way, they're honest, right? Like when conservatives say, like, oh, dude, the Taliban are so fucking base, dude. They're so fucking base, dude. Like, they don't fucking care about critical race theory. Like, I saw a bunch of takes. I saw a bunch of takes on Twitter. I mean, some of them are really fucking dumb, but like someone was saying, what do you call it? What was it? Someone had a fucking take on Twitter, like, I bet I could say slurs in like the Taliban occupied region without like scrutiny, or I bet I could say whatever I want in the Taliban occupied region without scrutiny. It's like, what? Like, why are you basically admitting that, that's like the only thing you care about? I mean, Tucker Carlson did an entire fucking video about how, the Taliban won because they don't have critical race theory. No, he literally said slurs. Notice how the Taliban aren't worried about COVID or rainbow flags? Just an observation. Are you siding with the Taliban on LGBT issues? Just an observation, coward. The Taliban spokesman got a question about freedom of speech, and he said the question should be asked the U.S. companies like Facebook who claim to promote it while still censoring. Donald Trump Jr., LOL, also not wrong. Paul Joseph Watson, low-key bigging up the Taliban, walked past Afghan boys dramatically retelling the story of looters taken down by locals in the Taliban. Everywhere you go, people are excitedly talking about how criminals who had been freely terrorizing Kabul for months are finally getting the punishments they deserve. Oh, this. Andrew Kloster. Okay, we got to talk about this, dude. So I'm giving up a lot of the shit that I talked about with Brace and Liz, but we did talk about this. I made some fucking jokes, but remember the dumb fucks who said you had a bad take when you said conservatives in America aren't far off from the Taliban? I mean, they're not the same, obviously. Like, you have to substitute Christianity for Islam, but then also on top of that, like, their level of conservatism is adjusted to what is like our morality, like moral center. You know what I mean? So obviously, like, it's completely related to the material conditions, completely related to like what our lifestyle and what is normalized in America. But yes, conservatives here are trying to literally fucking dial back progress from happening with respect to marginalized communities. Just like Taliban is doing that in Afghanistan. But because what is considered to be like the normal position for women in the workplace and whatnot, being in Afghanistan, being drastically different than here in America, they're doing it with respect to like whatever the fucking Afghan normal position is. I don't think that's like a spicy take or or all that exciting, really. People are trying to make this narrative of Taliban being whackers. All their PR seems to be very cognizant of current American discourse. They definitely are doing a lot more. What do you say to the psychos who support the Taliban? I mean, fucking go hang out with them. See how well you will be received. Like, you shouldn't compare conservatism of cultures who have been devastated by imperial powers to the conservatism of people in the imperial core. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be differences, certainly. That's why I said it's adjusted to the material conditions and what the normative positions are. Like what the hegemonic attitude is with respect to their particular circumstances, right? So, of course, like, you know, a conservative in Afghanistan, a fundamentalist in Afghanistan is going to be drastically different than a fucking fundamentalist in America. Ultimately, their core values align: conservatism, dialing back like civil liberties of any kind they can. But think about it like their Overton window is different. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? But this one was really funny. I mean, they came out. And this is like the type of shit that I think they arrived at this point on accident. There's no shot that the Taliban is like that aware of like the nitty gritty of like American conservative movements. Like, we'll see more if they actually start talking about like critical race theory or some shit. Then you'll notice like, oh my God, they're literally doing PR for the American hogs. But I don't know. Let's see what this video was about. So he's asked the question about freedom of speech.
This question should be asked to those people who are claiming to be promoters of freedom of speech.
So the other thing that he was criticizing is the top of the hour ad break. Now, the translator for some reason didn't mention that, but he said that, Ya Allah, like Allah willing, inshallah, there's a top of the hour ad break coming exactly at the top of the hour every hour. But of course, you know, the infidels and the kafirs the kuffars could fucking avoid the ad break if they subscribe, whether it's a $5 a month subscription or a free one in the form of a Twitch Prime. Okay. Or an ad blocker or a VPN. That's what they were saying. So it's crazy that he's saying that. I don't know why he knew that. I guess they're fucking watching, but yeah, but Twitch Prime is free, they kept saying. Here's the 1 minute ad break now, though. This is why, like, I've been punished by Allah. That's why my back is fucking broken, okay? Because I do too much hubris.
Who do not allow publication of all information. I can ask Facebook company. This question should be asked to them. Promoters of freedom of speech who do not allow publication of all information. I can ask Facebook company. This question should be asked to them.
Yeah. So that one obviously took a lot of fucking, like, Andrew Kloster, former Trump White House various agency lawyer, says he's right. And this isn't new. A lot of people lost their fucking minds about my 9/11 takes. Pepela 821. It's coming. You know, it's close. And yet, like, Dinesh D'Souza and numerous other conservative commentators at the time literally said that, like, what happened on 9/11 happened because, and they then turned around and agreed with Al-Qaeda because of homosexuals. So, like, that's not a new thing. Agreeing with, like, religious fundamentalists as, like, conservative commentators in America is not necessarily a new thing. Like, I mean, here, Dinesh D'Souza. Dinesh D'Souza published a book about it, basically saying the cultural left, the enemy at home, the culture of left, and the cultural left's responsibility for 9/11. In which he argues that the American cultural left was in large part responsible for the Muslim anger that led to the September 11 attacks. He argues that Muslims do not hate America because of its freedom and democracy, but because they perceive America to be imposing its moral depravity, support for sexual licentiousness, I don't know what that word is, on the world. D'Souza also argues that Abu Ghraib torture and prisoner abuse was a result of the sexual immodesty of a liberal America, and asserts that the conditions of prisoners in Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo Bay are comparable to the accommodations of mid-level Middle Eastern hotels. Like, this is literally verbatim saying, like, I mean, this motherfucker wrote a book saying America deserved 9/11 because we have gay people. And that, like, Osama bin Laden was right, basically. You know what I mean? That's insane. Pat Robertson had a similar take, too. So it's not new for conservatives to unironically agree with the Taliban. The Taliban is doing a better job in Afghanistan than what Erdogan is doing in Turkey. You fool, you are just hating. What? Bro, are you fucking insane? I mean, I despise Erdogan, but, like, you're literally delusional if you think that the Taliban are doing a better job. Anyway. The U.S. makes allies based on material returns to the global elite, but it maintains the system with liberal ideology. The trick is to completely ignore liberal ideology. There are slurs I'm sure I can say in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan that I can't say on Facebook. Why do you want to say these slurs? Like, dude, I want to say slurs so bad, I will literally go to Afghanistan. Like, that's the level that these motherfuckers are on, dude.
So you're traveling here.
Yeah.
You're working with the American, with the ISAF.
Right.
They all have the documents for the recommendations, everything.
Right.
The Joe Biden, every day they announce, we take these guys, they're working with the American or with the ISAF.
Yeah.
We take them to the America. But they are liars. Just they take these guys. They have.
Did you work with the Americans?
Yes, of course, of course. There is all like more than 50,000 people there crowded here. Today's all of them has gone to the homes. This is so less people now they're here.
Fewer people here now than
Yes,
there were
yes.
a couple of days ago.
Yeah, our home is here. But there's many flights
Did
empty.
you try to get in?
Yeah, but the Taliban didn't let you to go in.
Why?
If they're not let you.
What did they tell you?
They're telling us just stay here. The American says we take these guys. They have the American passport or American British, or they have the green cards. We take him. Otherwise, you have to stop here or to stay here. We tell them we cannot stay here because every day, the Joe Biden says we take these all the Afghan workers there help us.
Right.
We take them to the America.
Have you
But
applied? Have you tried to
Yes,
apply?
yes, of course.
And what happened?
They tell us we have to bring the HR letter update for the 2021, but it's impossible. All the companies locked down in 2014. It's very hard to find
Lots of people in the same situation.
Yeah, all the same. They have a HR letter, but they doesn't have the recommendation letter. But most of them they lost their badge.
Right.
So
What's your message to America right
it's
now?
our message to America. We help the American people, so that's their jobs to help right now here. There's a very bad situation. If someone know that you work with somebody, so the direct.
I'm just gonna.
Bro, this guy is just straight blasting his face on CNN. Something about this does not add up. I don't know if it's the sense of, I don't know if it's the desperation that he feels because, like, finally there's an opportunity to, like, openly fucking, ask the people of America to come help. But, like, what doesn't make fucking sense is like, if the Taliban are going to start murking these dudes, like, why the fuck is he not, like, why is he showing his face? I'm not saying it's like suspicious at all. I'm not saying like he's CIA or anything like that. Don't misunderstand me. What I'm saying is I think that they literally fucking personally believe that the Taliban's guarantees of amnesty are legitimate. And even then he's desperate enough to like show his face, which I think is foolish. I would not do that. You know what I mean? That's nuts. Like, that dude is fucked, dude. His family's fucked. That dude is fucked. Like, what? You think the Taliban don't see that? If it's widely known he worked with Americans, he might not give a fuck. Like, this is his best shot in his eyes. Yeah, that's true. That's also part of the reason why I'm like, it's so fucked up that there's so many dudes out there fucking sitting behind keyboards on Reddit and shit being like, these guys are such cowards. These guys are such cowards. These guys are such cowards. It's like, dude, what do you mean these guys are cowards, bro? Like, you think it's a misstep and it's the worst kind of fucking government interference when, you know, Applebee's wants you to wear a mask on your way over to the fucking table to eat jalapeno poppers, okay? This dude's entire family is about to get fucking brutally murdered. And he's out here like showing his face and being like, we need help. What the fuck are you guys doing? And you sit there in America being like, oh man, these guys are such fucking cowards. That's crazy.
I'm gonna fake you, sir. Can I just bring you in? You have a green card?
Yeah, see, this is my green card.
This is your green card. It's showing me a picture right now of his green card. That's his green card.
Bro, this is wild. Like, they're just showing what the fuck?
So you have a green card.
Yeah, and I have flight on the August 20 this Friday.
Right.
I already fill out the application for the U.S. Embassy.
Right.
And this is the emails that I got from the U.S. Embassy.
And so did you try to get in to the airport?
Yeah, I did. But
and what did the Taliban say?
Like the Taliban say, we don't know, just go. We don't want to try to let you in. Like they say we don't have flights and we don't have
They
anything.
don't have flights.
Yeah,
Okay.
they just say, but they do have a flight.
Okay. They have a flight.
See, I told you. I'm telling you, dude. I'm almost certain that like either the troops down there or the fucking embassy people like were just like, dude, you can't let these people into the American occupied part of the Kabul airport because like we don't have fucking flights. Do you see what I'm saying? Because like because they were letting people fucking they were letting people come in and there were massive crowds, but now they're specifically denying non-American people. And part of the reason why they're denying non-American people is probably because Americans are trying to evacuate all of the Americans and all the fucking Europeans and shit like that, so that they can then turn around and be like, sorry, no flights for you. We're going to control it with a limited, we're going to control it with like our limited involvement and the limited fucking, with the limited amount of bandwidth that we have. And that's it. That's what's going on.
But you're getting an impression, John and Brianna. I mean, look, I'm surrounded here, okay? And everybody here has got a story. People work for the Americans. One man has a green card. He already has his flights booked. Now they're pressing in. They want desperately to tell their stories. They want the Americans to know because they're not able to get past those checkpoints. They're not able.
Like, who's running security for her? That's what I don't understand. Like,
to get past the Taliban fighters. John, Brianna.
Clarissa, first of all, whatever you need right now, however you feel, you're in charge with this, right? If you need to go, if you need to get safe, let us know at any minute. If you're comfortable where you are, this is important to see, because what we are seeing now is the disconnect between what the United States says is happening, it needs to happen, with what can happen. If there are thousands of Afghans that the United States has promised to get out of the country, but they can't get to the airport, that's a disconnect. It's showing that it's not a reality.
I mean, and that's what's so crazy, John. You're talking about some of these people, they have their paperwork. This man has a green card.
You understand attacking American journalists is completely against Taliban interests? Why are you surprised? No, that's not even what I'm fucking talking about. I feel like she's gonna get mobbed up. Not because like someone fucking hates her and like wants to kill her, but I feel like she's gonna get fucking swarmed. You know what I mean? Like of people who are like unironically very desperate. It's like it's a war zone, man. You guys are crazy. Like, I know that there is a little bit of stability from the Taliban, which is such a weird thing to say. Like, I never thought that I would ever get to a point where I was like, the Taliban is maintaining stability in Kabul. You know what I mean? But it's still like, you know, it's still a fucking scary situation. If someone fires someone cracks another shot in the vicinity, and then all of a sudden everyone's like running around and getting trampled. Why are they doing that? Why are they trying to maintain stability? Because, and I keep saying this, and I keep repeating myself over and over again, it's in their best interest, because America gift wrapped and fucking put a nice little bow around Afghanistan and gave it to Taliban. And the reason for why they did that is because they thought the Taliban could offer more stability than the Afghan government, which was not capable, not popular, and also not capable of fighting against the Taliban for many, many years to come when the inevitable evacuation of U.S. troops happened. So they made the bargain. They made the bargain that it's better to fucking work with the Taliban and maintain stability, have them do some PR, have them promise that they're going to let like women get educated, stuff like that, which is why you hear them saying it. Was it a bad bargain? Bro, you're literally dealing with the Taliban. Of course it's a fucking bad bargain. But there's nothing else. Because we fucked up the region. We fucked up that country and caused it to be in a state of disrepair. Like, we caused irreparable harm in that country. There's no way that, like, you know what I mean? There's no fucking way that there is ever going to be stability there.
You are a U.S. green card holder. You should be allowed to get into that airport. But the problem is,
I mean, your theory assumes that the U.S. government knew the Taliban would take over in 3 days. Yes, my theory does assume that. And my theory, I think, is correct. And the reason why I suspect that the U.S. government knew that the Taliban would fucking, like, not the U.S. government, like, not the top level officials, but I do think that they were going to fucking take over inevitably. They said it was going to be 6 months, and they said 30 days, and then they took it over in 72 hours. Now, the reason why I think ultimately that the Taliban was going to take over no matter what was because they didn't even involve the Afghan government in the negotiations process, dude. They went to the Taliban, they went to the Afghan government, and the Taliban said, do not bring the Afghan government to the table. We do not give a shit. We're going to take over. Bro, they literally, they went to Pakistan and got a fucking top level mullah who is like one of the main fucking leaders of the Taliban out of prison, dude, to bring him to Camp David and negotiate with him. Like, well, why do you think they did that? Why do you think that they literally, why do you think Mike Pompeo has a photo where he's social distancing side by side with Mullah Barabar? A person that they got out of a Pakistani prison, a Taliban leader that they literally personally got out of a Pakistani prison. How did that happen? Why did that happen? Are you guys crazy? They did that on purpose because they were like, all right, we're going to fucking, we're going to give you Afghanistan. Don't be crazy. He got out for good behavior? Yeah, dude. That's literally that's totally what happens. They always allow former and current cells, leaders of terror cells to come out of fucking prison like that, dude. Now, Milley is saying that they didn't know Afghanistan would fall so quickly, but I 100% don't believe that. I think that's what they're saying because it's a massive fuck up for them to be like, we were there for 20 years. We already knew that it didn't fucking work. So then we negotiated with the Taliban and offered them Afghanistan. If they openly admit that, that is a gigantic fuck up. That's the reason why. They would rather look like idiots than look like fucking demons, okay? That's why they keep saying, oh, we had no idea. We had no idea this would happen. Don't be crazy, guys.
Make one comment on the intelligence, because I'm seeing all over the news that there are warnings of a rapid collapse. I have previously said from this podium,
not to be too much of a conservative, but like, what was he, too fucking busy reading Mao to read like any of the fucking security reports or even the Washington Post article that exposed that his military was like disastrously not equipped to fucking train the Afghan National Security Forces? Like, I'm sorry, dude. Were you learning about white rage too much? Is that why you fucking failed to see that? No, he knows. He literally knows, okay? I'm sorry. He literally knows. This is propaganda. This is PR. This is saving face. Okay? They're basically saying like, oh man, oh, who could have fucking thought that this would happen? If I'm a fucking idiot in America and I don't have access to like high level information, like highly classified information, okay? And I can fucking speculate from my goddamn living room that this was inevitable, and it was inevitable for many, many years, then of course they knew that too. They literally did. And also ironic because, yes, if he read Mao, he would have known, actually. So we have now exposed him as a phony, fake Mao reader, okay? He sounds, which makes him literally a leftist on Reddit, okay? He is, much like many of the leftists on Reddit, he also lies about reading Mao. So there is that.
in sworn testimony before Congress that the intelligence clearly indicated multiple scenarios were possible. One of those was an outright Taliban takeover following a rapid collapse of the Afghan security forces and the government. Another was a civil war, and a third was a negotiated settlement. However, the time frame of a rapid collapse, that was widely estimated and ranged from weeks to months and even years following our departure.
Nobody could have guessed how fast the Taliban would win. Meanwhile, Noam Chomsky back in fucking May was talking about it. Yeah, here, I'll show you this. God, he looks so old. This makes me sad.
It's a long shot. What do you, we can have a discussion later on about this. I don't know whether you want to make a prediction. What's the prediction, assuming this quote unquote pullout happens September 11th, what do you predict for the next year or two or three?
Don't claim any expertise in this, but from all the information that seems to me available, the Taliban will take over. The Afghan army will just collapse the way the Iraqi army did as soon as couple of people started coming in pickup trucks and aiming guns at them. They just ran away. That's the U.S. created army. I doubt that it'll be any different in Afghanistan. Try to create an army the way we created. It's not going to be an army. So I presume they'll flee, collapse, hand over their guns, something or other. Pretty soon the Taliban will take over. It's a pretty ugly regime. We've seen it.
Do you think that, well, that's the other thing I was going to ask. You don't think there's been any change to the Taliban? You think once they take over, it reverts back to what it was before?
Well, there are reports that there are changes. I don't know. I think you really have to be on the ground to know that.
Yeah.
You know that the so-called expert analysts have mostly been totally wrong.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's that I'm not. Yeah, it's certainly not an optimistic situation in any way, and the likelihood of the interesting thing is, I mean, of course, trying to go beyond the U.S. media in any way is sometimes difficult. But the reason I asked you is what the Afghan people want is that I can't find sources. Well, I'm not to be fair, I haven't worked very hard to find them, or hard enough, but I really have no idea of what the Afghan people want at this point, based on anything I read.
I don't think anybody does. First of all, if you take polls, they don't mean anything.
Yeah.
I mean, if you take polls to a population that's terrified,
yeah,
what does it mean? They'll tell you what you want to hear.
Lawrence Krauss was a serial abuser and friends with Jeffrey Epstein? Really? I did not know that. Hold on, I'm putting on a fucking heating pad, dude. Even though the thing says don't use a heating pad. With the lidocaine, with like the lidocaine thing, but I have to. Okay. The heating pad will make the pain worse? Why? You will explode? Wait, why? Because you can get burns by accident. Lidocaine numbs the back. It's fine. Heat can cause the lidocaine in the patch to be absorbed into the body faster. This may increase the chance of serious side effects or an overdose. While you are using this medicine, do not use a heating lamp, electric blanket, heat or tanning lamp, sauna or sun lamp, or even heated water bed. Do not sunbathe. However, you may apply ZT Lido patch on the skin after. Oh, fuck. Okay, this is not a regular heating pad. This is a lidocaine heating pad, and you might OD on it, I guess. Applying heat to sore muscles or ache, pain causes inflammation. It's best to use cold packs on the sore area. You alternate heat and cold for 10 minutes each. It helps. Call the Sackler family? Yeah, okay.
There was nothing that I or anyone else saw that indicated a collapse of this army and this government in 11 days. Make one comment on the
So, I'm sorry, but I don't believe when General Milley says he didn't know this would happen.
It is such a chaotic situation, and the Taliban understands how this looks. The Taliban knows that having...
Is it a 3% or 5% lidocaine patch? Hold on, let's see. A photo of it. It's a 5% lidocaine patch. Might have to get an ice bath for your back. We'll see.
Thousands of people on the streets desperately trying to press into the airport because they're so frightened, because they just want more than anything to leave. They know that that looks bad. So it is not entirely surprising that the Taliban is not exactly embracing this sort of mass exodus. The question becomes, what recourse do these people have? How can their safe passage be facilitated? And we're not getting any sense of how that could happen.
Oh, this was insane. I tweeted about this and joked about this.
Yes, sir.
Dude, the American, I was going to say the American Military News Corps. The American White House press pool is like way too fucking comfy, dude. They're so insanely comfortable just like promoting the bottom line of the military industrial complex. Like, it is a complete psychopathic fucking question that this guy is asking.
President Biden said that there were very few national security interests for the United States in maintaining some peace in Afghanistan. Would you actually reiterate that today? Would you say that there is no interest for us having some presence on the borders of Iran, on the borders of Pakistan, on the borders of near China? Would you, or Tajikistan? Would you just say that we should just give that up?
I would say that the president does not believe that the United States should be fighting and dying in a war for the purpose of sustaining American military boots near Tajikistan or Pakistan or Iran. No, I would say that that is something that is not. What you just laid out as a national security interest, we would.
Who is that reporter? I haven't seen a single fucking person tell me who this reporter is.
Would not agree that it is right to ask American soldiers to risk their lives for the purpose of maintaining a presence near Tajikistan. Yes.
We should just give it up. Well, it's not ours, so yeah, dipshit, we should. I mean, it's nuts. That, like, what an insane question from the media to just like turn around and be like, shouldn't we have military presence in Tajikistan? It's like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, complete psychopathic warmongering. GOP status, the neocons are back, baby. YouGov America, do Americans think the U.S. made a mistake by recently withdrawing troops from Afghanistan? Most Republicans say yes. Of course they do, bro. Of course they do. You know. Look at that. U.S. adults say 33% say yes, 36% say no. Democrats 20% yes, 52% say no. Independents 37% say yes, 32% say no. Republicans 54% say yes, 22% say no. I wonder if you should ask them that question separately, saying like this is Donald Trump's plan. Like if you were to say, did the United States do a good job following, I mean, maybe Howard Mortman? Oh, yeah, and then the Democrats would say that the United States fucked up by following Donald Trump's plan. Don't get me wrong. You could pull up a vaccine poll right up next to this and it would be almost the same. Y'all Qaeda proven? I don't like this. Because, for a couple different reasons. One, because, like, I mean, these guys were, like, trained and funded by Americans. And two, like, these guys, I don't even know if they were, like, capable of fucking taking over the American government. I don't even know if they were genuinely interested in taking over the American government. I think they were just, like, a bunch of angry hogs. Like, the energy is the same, but, you know, the Taliban are actually governing. You know what I mean? Like, these guys, all they've known is, like, war. These guys, on the other hand, like, you know, I don't think they'd be able to govern a country, let alone figure anything else out. I don't even think that they would be able to get in if the police didn't just, like, open up the floodgates and allow them to come into the capital. Like, the Taliban, they would have inevitably made it to Kabul. Even if the fucking Afghan security forces didn't withdraw, they were inevitably going to make it to Kabul. Doesn't matter if it would take 6 months, 30 days, or 72 hours. They were going to make it to Kabul. These motherfuckers were not making it into the capital if it wasn't for the cops being like, all right, step right here, sir. Yeah. On the left, you have homies fighting, you know, blood pressure and chronic heart disease. On the right, you got homies that are trying to spread jihad. The world. The Taliban are sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals the world desperately needs. By Julia Horowitz on CNN Business. The world desperately needs it. There it is. So to the people who fucking tell me that I'm wrong about the mineral supply in Afghanistan and why that's like the main reason, I just want to tell you, like, you are wrong and I am right. Liberals are completely obsessed with January 6th. They're obsessed with this aesthetic American politics insurrection. They literally compare everything to it now as genuinely horrible. Where were these minerals a week or a month ago? They were still being extracted from the ground, but there was not a lot of security for it. Okay, listen, guys. Guys. We have known that Afghanistan is dense with natural resources since the USSR had a fucking mineral map. It's not like Pete Buttigieg literally had a map of Afghan minerals. Pete Buttigieg had a map of Afghanistan's minerals in his office. That was his fucking job. Can the Afghans mine these minerals themselves? Why or why not? Of course they can. They don't have the technical know-how, dude. Do you think the Taliban is bad? I'm confused on your take. Yes, of course I think the Taliban is bad. Yeah, I mean, here. In person, Buttigieg's style is amiable and controlled. He speaks like a newscaster in lucid paragraphs with solid baritone and boxing decorum. He seems to live in white shirts and pressed slacks. It's his dress even now around the house. And wears his hair in the same tame coif as Mike Pence, who was elected Indiana's governor the year he was sworn in as mayor. Showing me into a living room where books on display range from Thomas Piketty's Capital in the 21st Century to Peanuts, a golden celebration. He takes a seat. He takes a seat in front of a huge resource and mineral map of Afghanistan. That's so strange. Remember, that was literally his fucking job in the intelligence community. Like when he was a part of the Navy, I believe, and also when he deployed, like his entire job was fucking resource management. You keep spreading this mistruth. There was one contract for a company that purchased minerals after they were extracted that was given out under the Trump administration from a mine on the outskirts of Kabul. You are literally fucking wrong, dude. That's not even true because the Taliban occupied territories that are already given a fucking a mining contract to China. You're just absolutely incorrect. We have known for a very long time that Afghanistan is very fucking resource dense. Okay? Mistruth. I love this because, like, he doesn't want to fucking say you're outright lying because he's right. Because he knows I'm right, rather. Okay, so he's saying, oh, it's just a mistruth. You're spreading this mistruth. Like I'm actually confused. Afghanistan signs major mining deals in development push. The deals were signed in Washington on Friday. The deals reviving projects that have been stalled for years follow a push by the U.S. and Afghan authorities that develop mineral resources estimated to be worth $1 trillion. The problem, though, is extraction and investment. Okay? That's the issue. Nobody wants to invest in extraction and nobody wants to make refineries when the region is constantly fucking in a state of war. And Afghanistan does not have the technological know-how to be able to fucking put it together. Yeah, here are the obstacles, by the way. The main obstacles are literally security. Like the number one obstacle is instability and lack of security. There's like obstacles in extraction, but those are the two main problems. Actual extraction, not easy. Been scouring the globe for investors to develop its mines in an attempt to lift one of the world's poorest nations out of misery through investment. Contracts have already been awarded to China and India to develop copper and iron mines, respectively, and another round of bidding is currently in progress for 4 unexploited sites that are being closely eyed by countries such as the United States, Australia, and Turkey. But the significant hurdles remain in the quest to turn Afghanistan's buried minerals into a steady source of income for the government and Afghan people. Security is still a major concern. Huh. Security is still a major concern. Interesting. It's kind of hard to build fucking extraction sites when you can easily be overtaken by a bunch of dudes wearing slides using weapons that they got from the Americans like 30 years ago. So you don't have stability and you don't have security, so you can't extract it. And then you don't want to build refineries. The reason why you don't want to build refineries is, again, the same concept. You can be intercepted very easily. Old article. Dumbass, this is in 2014. What the fuck do you mean? Or 2012. What, you think that changed? Yeah, it's about to change when the Taliban maintains stability for regional powers and global superpowers. That's part of the reason why I keep telling you that, like, they literally, having an old article in this situation actually works in my favor. That they knew since 2012 easily that Afghanistan had a lot of fucking resources. Unfortunately, though, they could not fucking extract those resources as a consequence of, the security concerns. Afghanistan dangles lithium wealth to win Trump support. Unless you motherfuckers think that, like, minerals just pee-pee poof. Is that what you guys think happens to the minerals that don't get fucking, that don't get taken out of the earth? They just, like... Anyway. Yeah, you got a new Minecraft seed, so the minerals are in different locations now. They moved to Tajikistan. Yeah, they got a new fucking godlike seed in Uzbekistan, bro. They despawned. They're gone now. They think you're saying all the dying of U.S. troops was minerals. It was only for us to create the stability, which didn't work, and that's why we're leaving now? No, I'm not saying that the dying of U.S. troops were specifically so we could, like, create stability so we could extract the minerals. There were a bunch of different reasons for it. It was so that our war machine could continue. We make a lot of investments. We pump a lot of fucking tax dollars into R&D and make new weapons. We gotta fucking use those weapons somehow. Yeah, well, who to use those weapons on than the fucking people that we literally armed 30 years prior? There are, like, yes, the people that died in Afghanistan, I'm sorry to say. But listen, if you're a veteran and you have homies that died out there and you are unaware of this reality, like, they didn't die to protect America. They died to protect the interests of the military-industrial complex. And the military knows this as well. That's why the VA literally sent an email out to every veteran saying, like, please don't kill yourselves if you feel conflicted today when you see the conditional withdrawal. That's the wildest part about it, is, like, it's so brazen. It's so in your fucking face, dude. I mean, here. Two days ago, this email was sent out titled, Afghanistan, let's talk about it. Veterans from all eras are reacting to the events in Afghanistan, such as the U.S. withdrawal and the takeover by the Taliban. You are not alone. Veterans may question the meaning of their service or whether it was worth the sacrifices they made. They may feel moral distress about experiences they had during their service. It's normal to feel this way. Talk with your friends and families, reach out to battle buddies, connect with a peer-to-peer network, or sign up for mental health services. Common reactions. In reaction to the current events in Afghanistan, veterans may feel frustrated, sad, helpless, grief, or distressed, feel angry or betrayed, experience an increase in mental health symptoms like symptoms of PTSD or depression, sleep poorly, drink or use more drugs, try to avoid all reminders or media, or shy away from social situations. Or try to avoid reminders, have more military and homecoming memories. Veterans may question the meaning of their service or whether it was worth the sacrifices they made. Newsflash, it fucking wasn't. It literally was not. This is fake? It's from... What do you mean this is fake? What the fuck? So if you do have like veteran friends, this is your opportunity to talk to them. If you yourself are a veteran, this is an opportunity to reflect. Okay? It really is. You should 100% talk to them and tell them that, like, unfortunately, this is the reality. So if you want to stop this, take the next fucking steps. If you want to prevent this from happening, if you want to prevent what happened to you from happening to millions of other young men and women that are being preyed on, or in some instances are duped into joining the military, or they just come from like fucking chud ass like military families, tell them that America is not engaging in a war of peace, or America is not doing this for any sort of like moral good. And they're doing this exclusively for the fucking bottom line of the American military industrial complex's personal gains. How could you fucking see this email, see the betrayal, and not recognize that this is like you got fucking duped. You got fucked over 100%. Now, a lot of veterans look at this, and unfortunately, because there's a lot of fucking chuds in the military, let's be real, and veterans will tell you that. Veterans, especially in this community, will tell you most of their fucking friends in the military are oftentimes gigantic chuds. They see this and they go, that means we have to be there permanently, brother. Like, we got to keep doing it. That's wrong. So reach out to them and fucking try to explain to them, like, no, dude. All you're doing is putting other people in that same fucking awful situation that you were in. So they themselves, if they're lucky enough to be able to survive and get like fucked up in the brain, to feel that same betrayal years down the line. It's the truth. The veteran and active duty support groups are all just spamming the opposite and saying we didn't have another 9/11 for 20 years. Good job, everyone. That's great. British people think it was the wrong decision to pull Western troops out of Afghanistan too, according to a YouGov poll. Great. You're shocked that a country with presidents all around the world at one point thought it was wrong to pull out of a country? Lol. Yeah, I don't really go to the British for most veterans joined solely because of 9/11. That's not even true. It was true fucking 10 years ago or 15 years ago. It's no longer true. That's why military recruitment numbers are fucking down, because you can't like you can't drum up nationalistic fervor amongst the younger population. It was true post 9/11. It's a jobs program that revolves around doing a bunch of fucked up shit overseas. Sorry, that's the reality. You literally sell your body to the American government, and it's fucking terrible. Engage in positive activities. Stay connected. Practice good self-care. Stick to your routines. Limit media exposure. Use a mobile app. Yeah, dude. Here's a mobile app because, you know, and some fucking takes on self-care. Wrong. Military numbers are down now because of the push for free healthcare and free college. Without a reason to fight for the country anymore, recruiting relies on its benefits, which are soon to be non-existent. No, you are actually wrong. I'm sorry to tell you, because a push for healthcare doesn't mean shit. Yes, for a lot of middle-class Americans, that is the reason why they join the military, because it's a jobs program that offers benefits. However, we don't have healthcare. If we did, then it would be a little different. Then you would actually see the numbers wither away. But the real reason for why the military numbers and the military recruitment practices getting like more predatory, and the military going to like younger and younger people and like fucking doing esports and shit like that, is literally so that they can combat the like low nationalistic fervor that Americans have. I'm sorry to tell you guys this, but we don't have a good track record. Okay, we're seen as fucking losers. Like, our military are perpetual losers. Now, part of that is a consequence of not having like a lot of coverage anymore. I mean, yeah, we are like a permanent L machine, dude. We're fucking L nerds, dude. Sorry, you know, American military fell off. Like, the hood watches the Taliban now. Because we are L nerds, as like the American people are fucking L nerds. The American military are L nerds, but it's a W overall for the military industrial complex. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I know people like this too. I enlisted because I was a drug addict and it saved my life. Yeah, I know someone like that.